Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday, and welcome to Happy Hens and Hounds. Just wanted to do a little video, kind of like an intro video. I've had some people reach out to me and ask what got me started in homesteading, and I thought, why not just kind of share a little bit about my journey and let you guys know. I've been fortunate that I was exposed to not homesteading or farming on the large scale that you see, in the Midwest or even, here in Montana. But my parents, they did the best with what they had. And, I wasn't raised in this lifestyle. My parents were both hardworking blue collar people and on a limited budget. And, looking back now at my childhood home, gosh, it was such a tiny, tiny little house and on a small little lot. But Dad was always growing vegetables. We had corn. He had corn stalks. Looking back now, back then, I thought it just, wow, I would get lost in the corn stalks. Even though it was just a tiny little area. My father built a pond and got ducks. So I had little ducklings, and we had gardens with watermelon and cantaloupe, honeydew, cucumbers, obviously the staples, the tomatoes, and my dad made wonderful salsa. Grew the onions and the garlic and the chilies and the bell peppers, and I always had fresh fruits and vegetables. My great grandmother, she had a plethora of fruit trees. I think the only trees she didn't have was like avocado, cherry, and banana, but apples, peaches, pears, raspberries, mulberry. My aunt who lived next door had the biggest mulberry tree, and I used to love just climbing up in her tree and eating mulberries. I was always in a tree, always. If I was at home or if I was at my great grandmother's house, I was in a tree picking fruit of some sort. At home, my favorite was the loquat tree, and if you're familiar with loquats, or if you're not, they're these like orange fruits that are about yay big, yay wide, but they have these huge brown slippery seeds, and depending on the size of the loquat, you'd get anywhere between 4 or 6 of those seeds, and I would spit them out my mouth as far as I could. Those slippery little suckers, just pew! See how far I could spit my seeds out. And one year my dad shows me, he's like, Desiree, look. And there was new loquat trees. So I was contributing by spitting out my seeds. I was starting a grove of loquats. But we had kumquats, which are not loquats. They're a little bit more citrusy, super sour if you eat the fruit. But the little loquats are smaller. They look like a little orange, the skin, and the skin is actually sweet. It's the fruit that's sour. So if you ever try a loquat, check it out. Anyhow, we had everything, and I grew up eating that. And it wasn't until about the late 80s, maybe a little bit earlier, that I noticed that watermelons from the grocery store just weren't tasting like watermelons. And that has just continued to progress over the years. Food does not taste like it did. And so I started buying, organic. And then we found out about GMO, that the grocery stores are all full of genetically modified fruits and vegetables. European countries, countries worldwide, they ban ooh la la. I got a green cheek conure over there, and she's like, Mom, I hear you, but I don't see you. Normally I'm in the other room when I'm chatting. Anyhow, I noticed that the food wasn't tasting right. Found out about GMOs, European countries, for the most part, ban them. Our food is making us sick. There's just, you can't deny it. You can't deny that the pharmaceutical company is a multi-billion-dollar company. It makes its money off of keeping people sick. If you do your due diligence and you look at the life expectancy of Americans, we're in a decline. They've got to make money. They're making it's a cash cow. Keep people sick, keep people on pharmaceuticals, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Do it through the food. So my word to you, to my viewers, is, I've been asked, how did I start? How do you start? How do you get into this? I don't have the money for it. I just moved out of a townhouse. I was in a townhouse for 7 years by myself, just me in my townhouse. Except for when COVID happened and, my kids lost jobs and blah, 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 and they had to come home for a short while. But I didn't have acreage. I didn't have land that I owned. I was renting. I'm still renting right now. Want to buy some land. I would love to just have my own property. There's too many problems with this place here. Thought about it for a minute that it'd be nice to own it, but nah. Anyhow, I just started in my home. If you've got a light, if you see this, like where this light's coming from behind me, that's a grow light. Let me see if I can turn this just briefly for you guys to see. So I just have a little grow light up there. That's just for my little tree. But anyhow, I've got grow lights throughout the house. I started with just putting up a little garden box. I had a little piece of a yard that I could work with, and I started growing indoors and outdoors. And then I moved here in the spring, and that's it. There was no stopping me. I went gung-ho. The property had a barn. I knew I wanted to get some chickens, and but then Montana Morsels, the company that I'm starting, I'm always working on it, and it's my passion to have our animals healthy, and it led me into really going deep with something that hunters experience. I've never killed an animal, even now. My son brought me an elk, not an elk, but a deer, a buck, one year, and it was the best tasting game meat I've ever had. It was wow. And then I found out it's what they eat that makes the difference in how they taste. But one thing that we this really touches me. Okay, we go to the grocery store and you buy your chicken, or you buy your beef, or you buy your whatever it is that you're eating. It removes something spiritual, something deep, when you have to end an animal's life so that you can eat. It brings you closer to your food. Our country, we are so wasteful. We're so wasteful. I am guilty of that in the past. Didn't understand. I wasn't aware. But when you have to take a life so that you can have life, it really makes you think. It makes you get grateful, and not wasteful. So I'm raising chickens for consumption, not the ones that you see here. These are my egg layers, but I do have a breed that I'm raising that are ideal for both eggs and for meat. I'm not doing Cornish cross, will not do Cornish cross, want nothing to do with Cornish cross. I don't agree with the way that they are raised. I believe that animals, I have a lot of animals. I've had too many animals in my lifetime for anybody to tell me different. They have emotions. They feel pain. They feel love. They feel when they're cared for. Have you ever had an animal just come up to you and because they trust you? that's a special feeling, you know, having your chickens come out and hop on your leg because they know that you're going to give them something to eat and you're not going to hurt them. Even if that time comes that, you know, they have to be culled for me, at least they're being raised with care and with love. You know, as humans, plants, you know, we're anything living needs love and care. And so yeah, don't get me on that high horse because I'll go deeper on it. If you want, leave a comment and say, let's talk more about this subject. I understand why people might be vegan. I really do. I went vegan for like a month. Don't laugh. I actually didn't bother me. I was fine with it, but yes, I do eat meat. But I do understand. I understand, you know, that some people just can't. They don't want it, and I understand why people, you know, are carnivores. And you know, I'm not one to judge you based on your decisions and why you do what's right for you. With that being said, I'm going to do what's right for me, and I may change what's right for me along my path. You know why? Because it's my path. It's my journey. My journey's mine. I own it. So I support you in owning your journey, whatever that may be. But I do believe that hunters really understand. They've all had to deal with, you know, taking a life to eat. When I do get to the point of having to cull my chickens for pet food and turkeys for pet food and for human food as well, I know that my animals are being raised with non-GMO, organic, and love and care, and they're being nurtured and they're happy. And so yeah, that's what goes into my conviction as far as what I'm doing, what I'm raising. I want to touch base a little bit on the organic versus non-GMO versus organic and non-GMO. I want to warn people of organic. I wanted to show you guys this, but I've just been too busy because I'm managing the homestead by myself. And I had bitten into an apple. I got an apple down at Natural Grocers in Kalispell. Not that there's anything wrong with Natural Grocers. I love you guys. I do. But just read your labels wherever you go. Read your labels. Just because it says organic does not mean that it's healthy. It only means that it was grown without pesticides and chemicals that are harmful to us. But if you would like to get into gardening and you'd like to get into, you know, and you want to eat healthy and clean and you just don't know where to start, you can buy like right now it's fall, you can buy a organic pumpkin. Let's say you don't have the option for a non-GMO, a non-genetically modified pumpkin. You could buy your pumpkin, scrape out the seeds, okay? Put them in a strainer, remove the little fibers from it, let your seeds dry for a couple days out on the counter, and then, you know, put them in a paper envelope and save them for next year, okay? Now, when you go to plant your seeds, you can use good non-GMO, and organic soil. So soil that has been created from non-genetically modified matter, and no chemicals, no harsh chemicals that are harmful to our body. Now you're growing a pumpkin that is non-GMO and organic. Okay, so as long as you have a non-GMO seed, I might have said that backwards, so I might have to reverse the video, but if I don't, just please understand, if you buy a pumpkin that is organic, but it's non-genetically modified, you can save those seeds and you will get non-genetically modified pumpkins. And as long as you're using soil that is non-genetically modified and organic, now you've got the best of both worlds. So that's what I've been doing in, you know, I don't have spare time, but in my spare time, you know, usually I'm out running around in the barn, taking care of all the animals. Then I come upstairs and in the house, got to take care of house stuff, got to take care of vegetable stuff, and then I've got grow rooms, and then I've got the dog and cat food. So I'm out in. I'm always running around working. So anyhow, that's just kind of a quick little video. My animals are calling me, so it is time for me to say goodbye. But if there's any topics you would like me to elaborate on or go do a deep dive on, bring it. I'd love to hear. Leave it in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all later. Have a happy Sunday.